Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels? You're putting in all the hours, all the effort, but you're just not seeing any results? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful story that speaks directly to that feeling. It's called The Lesson of the Chinese Bamboo Tree, and trust me, it's all about patience, perseverance, and that incredible breakthrough that can happen right when you're about to give up.
So let's start with something I like to call the 5-year wall. This is that super frustrating place where you feel like you've been putting in the work forever, but you've hit a wall. You're getting absolutely nowhere.
I mean, come on. We've all been there, right? You're doing everything you're supposed to, you're working hard, you're checking all the boxes, but your career, or maybe a personal project, it just feels totally stalled out. It's a really tough spot to be in.
And this is exactly where we find our main character, Kunal. For 5 solid years, he has been completely dedicated to his company. We're talking late nights, extra projects, you name it, he did it. And what did he have to show for it? 0 promotions. To make it worse, he had to watch people he trained, his own juniors, get promoted right past him and become his bosses. You can just imagine how that feels.
So he hits his breaking point. He goes home, totally defeated, and tells his father, "That's it, I'm done." He's ready to quit, to just throw away 5 years of his life because he's convinced it was all for nothing.
But here's where things take a turn. His father doesn't argue with him. Instead, he tells him a story, a really simple little parable about a bamboo tree that is going to completely change how Kunal sees everything. And this, right here, is the heart of the whole lesson.
His father starts talking about the Chinese bamboo tree. See, when you plant the seed, you have to water it and fertilize it every single day. You put in all this care and effort, and at the end of the first year, you look and you see absolutely nothing. Not a single sprout. The second year rolls around, and guess what? It's the exact same story. You keep watering, you keep fertilizing, and you keep seeing nothing. You have to start wondering, right? Is anything actually happening under there?
Now we're 3 years in. Can you imagine the patience that takes? You're still putting in the work, day in and day out, with 0 proof that any of it matters. No reward, nothing.
And even after 4 years, there is still nothing to see above the ground. I mean, most of us would have given up ages ago. But then, something happens in that 5th year.
And it is incredible. The little bamboo shoot finally breaks through the ground, and then it just explodes. It grows an unbelievable 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. It's this absolutely mind-blowing transformation after years of complete silence.
And this is the million-dollar question his father asks Kunal. Did that tree really grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it take 5 years? And of course the answer is, it took 5 years. 5 long years of preparation for that sudden burst of growth. This is where the light bulb really goes on. Those years where it looked like nothing was happening, they weren't wasted at all. They were actually the most important part. That was the time for all the invisible growth, the stuff happening deep beneath the surface.
We can call this the root system. It's that hidden foundation of skills, of character, of resilience that you're building when it feels like nothing's happening. It's all that work you do underground that makes the explosive, visible growth even possible.
And that's exactly what was going on with Kunal. He thought he was stuck, but he was actually building his own powerful root system. He learned how 3 different departments worked, he built real relationships with senior leaders, he learned how to handle the toughest clients, and he developed patience and grit. Those weren't wasted years, they were his foundation years.
So really you've got 2 kinds of growth, right? There's that quick, shallow growth. It looks impressive at first, but the foundation is weak and it just can't handle a real storm. But then you have deep growth. It starts slow, yeah, but it builds this incredibly strong, resilient foundation that can support real, sustainable, long-term success.
Okay, so let's jump back to Kunal's story, because this is where we see the payoff. All that time he spent building his roots, it's about to pay off in a big way.
About 6 months later, this huge opportunity comes up at his company. It's a massive project, and it needs someone who understands the business from top to bottom across different departments. And who is the one person perfectly prepared for that exact challenge? You guessed it, Kunal. He was ready. And just like that bamboo tree, once he started to grow, his ascent was fast and it was strong. He absolutely crushed the project. And then came the first promotion. And then, not long after that, came a second one. His career didn't just move forward, it launched.
Think about that for a second. 2 promotions in a single year, after 5 years of what felt like nothing.
That isn't just slow and steady progress. That's exponential growth, a breakthrough that was only possible because of the strong foundation he had so patiently built.
So here's the big takeaway. If you feel like you're putting in the work and not seeing the results you want, just remember the bamboo tree. The most important, the most critical growth, building your skills, your character, your resilience, it's often happening completely out of sight. That's your root building phase. Don't give up right before you're about to break through.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. What are your roots? What's the invisible work you're doing right now? What skills, what knowledge, what strengths are you building beneath this surface? Trust that process, because when your time comes to grow, you're going to be ready to shoot for the sky.